In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement, the Cape May Star and Wave, the Herald, and on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad. Here. Councilmember Neville is on vacation. Councilmember Simonson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Beck.
Here. And we begin the work session this evening with Kirby, who's working now for the Relay for Life with the
American Cancer Society.
American Cancer Society. I think that was the overall umbrella organization that runs this, but she's going to explain. And Kirby used to work for cover our township with the newspaper.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did an outstanding job. So welcome back. And now you're wearing a different hat, so perhaps you could explain to us what the Relay for Life is about.
I'm not here so I can talk with all of you. So I'm sure some of you may remember me. So I am a really good specialist.
Where's the microphone?
Microphone.
There you go.
That's better. So I am now a Relay for Life specialist with the American Cancer Society. I have been involved with Relay since 2011, and we are bringing Relay for Life to Lower Township for this year. Coming into 2015, the actual event will be May 30th to the 31st. It is an overnight event. I do want to introduce you. Some of you may know Buffy. She is our fabulous event lead for this event. So take it away.
All right. I was first involved with Relay for Life, which is actually the #1 fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. Over the past 30 years, they've put $5 billion towards the American Cancer Society to fund programs, do research, look for a cure. I first started relaying in 2003. I didn't do it for a couple of years, and then my sister-in-law was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I got involved again. So this year we're going to have a very successful Relay for Life in Lower Township.
So we have a short video, it's about 2 minutes, that will help explain Relay and exactly where the money goes. So we're going to fire that up for you.
Hey there, I'm Ron, and I'm an American Cancer Society Relay for Life volunteer. And people often ask me, what is Relay for Life? It's the world's most impactful fundraising event to end cancer. 4 million volunteers each year raise nearly $400 million to help the American Cancer Society save lives. Here's something else people want to know when I wear this purple shirt. How is Relay for Life making a difference in my community? Well,
You're right out there.
there's hardly a person out there who hasn't benefited from our work.
You can't put the microphone, do you have the microphone up against it? That's the best, okay.
Difference in my community. Well, let me show you. There's hardly a person out there who hasn't benefited from our work. People like Tim, who needed someone to talk to about his cancer diagnosis at 3 o'clock in the morning. Or people like Mary, who stayed at a Hope Lodge in a faraway city free of charge when she needed advanced treatment. People like Sarah, who needed a ride to and from treatment. People like little Mike, who can sit in a restaurant without exposure to cigarette smoke. And people like Jill, who are taking a life-saving drug that research funded by the American Cancer Society played a part in making happen. The work we do impacts everyone, regardless of where it is raised. So, why do I volunteer? Because the work of the American Cancer Society has contributed to a 20% decline in the cancer death rate since 1991. That's 1.3 million lives saved from cancer. My mom is one of those. That's why I do so much for Relay. Because Relay has done so much for me and my family. But the job's not done yet. We need your help to finish this fight once and for all. To learn more or join us, visit relayforlife.org.
Okay, so I apologize that the sound was not great on that. Basically, what that video just said was it shows you where all the money is going. So it's staying local with our programs, our services. We have rides to treatment for cancer patients. We have things like Look Good, Feel Better that help women who are currently going through a cancer journey with the makeup and beauty tips that they need, because your appearance really does change, and that helps them feel better about themselves even when they're really feeling low. But just a show of hands, has anybody ever done or heard of Relay for Life? Just a handful. Okay, so this is brand new. So you would form a team with your family, friends, coworkers, and you would fundraise all year long. And then at Relay for Life in May, it's this big celebration where we celebrate survivors, we remember those we've lost, and we fight back so that one day we live in a world where no one ever hears the words, "You have cancer." So Buffy's going to tell you a little bit about the different things that you can do to help out.
Right now, what we're looking for is to build our event leadership team. So if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, this is the perfect one. We also need people to join teams to fundraise. If you own a business or you know a business that's willing to sponsor, there's a great sponsorship package.
So we're going to leave it at that. We don't want to overwhelm you. I'm going to leave some paperwork on the back table, so as you leave, you can grab some more information. It'll tell you how to join, how to form a team, how to volunteer, all of that good stuff. So thank you again to Mayor and Council.
Thank you for sharing that.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Next, we have Deputy Mayor Clark with the Economic Development Advisory Committee presentation. So it's all his. I think he'll need a minute to set up, though.
She's coming over.
Lights? You can leave them on?
Good evening, everyone. It was the beginning of 2013. Council asked that we get together and think about the economic prospects for our region, our township, our county. And we saw that this was extremely important because our future tax base depends on it. The employment of our young people depends on it. Our prosperity depends on it. And what council did was form a committee, an advisory committee, and they said that you're to meet, you're to get the best minds in the area, you get business people, you get the cultural community, you get the education community, and you come up with some ideas to improve our economy, and report back and make sure you do it by the end of this year. And so by virtue of our charter that we established at the beginning of 2013, we have met 8 times. And I'm here tonight just to briefly tell you about some of the ideas and thoughts that have come out of the Economic Development Advisory Committee that was set up by council. Now, the first thing we need to do is remind ourselves why we need to think about our economy. We have to realize that our county has some of the lowest unemployment in America. And if you compare our county to the other counties in New Jersey, we are the lowest. I should say we have the highest unemployment, next to Cumberland County. The only one with higher unemployment would be Cumberland County. And number 2, in terms of our median income, we are number 16 in terms of how well we're doing with our incomes out of 21 counties in New Jersey. When it comes to children that are living below the poverty level, Cape May County is in the bottom half of New Jersey. And then when you consider the percentage of birth to girls between 10 and 19, we are 18 out of 21 counties in New Jersey. Now, it's key to understanding that building our economy, you need to start with what you have. You have to build on what they call your natural assets. And down here we know that our natural assets are beaches, they're harbors, they're oceans, they're great sunsets, and things that people love to see and are attracted by. Now, you combine your natural assets with technology. For example, we had natural assets of sand, and for a long time in Wheaton Village, they took some technology, turned that sand into some of the best glass that got exported across the world and became a great glass industry. So we mix the basic natural resources with technology, and we get our economic base. Now, our base, our strength, is leisure and tourism. We all know that. But then we have to remember that we're followed by fishing, followed by agriculture, and then, of course, this is a wonderful place to retire, and all of the healthcare companies and programs that go with retirement are down here as well. Now, the only way, and this is so important, the only way that we can help to make incomes grow, provide more jobs for our young people, and improve our overall economy is that we have to add value. We have to do something or make something that people want, okay? That's the only way it's going to happen. So, the reason this is important for council to consider is that if we're not building our wealth, expanding our ratables, and the people that have jobs that can buy homes to pay taxes, we're going to have fewer and fewer people with more and more taxes. So we need more people. We need to improve the economy, more people with jobs so that we can spread the responsibility for the taxes around and everyone pays a little bit less. Next one, please. Karen, thank you for doing this, by the way. So we gathered some of the smartest and best people we could from all sectors of our economy and our society. And originally it was Glenn Douglas and I that chaired and co-chaired, and then Eric joined us as we came into our second year. But you'll see some of the people on this list. We have some of the largest employers in the region. Curtis Bashall with Cape Resorts Group, David Craig with a number of restaurants and his family with Cape May Winery, Jay Sporl with the campgrounds, Ernie Utch is here tonight with the marina community, Keith Lodeman with the Lobster House, Rick Weber with South Jersey Marina and a number of restaurants, Mary Stewart with the Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts, Daniel Cohen, who is in fishery, and Cape May Salts, John McNulty in landscaping, Larry Hume, who is in retail. And those were the folks that were appointed, and then the people in the second row were people that we've also invited to participate. We want to thank Craig Fitz, who is a long-term planner that met with us on a number of occasions, Chuck and Barb McPherson, Mike Vole, Johnny Walker, Chris Kobick, who will be here tonight, our superintendent of schools, Jeff Reichel, who we're going to hear from tonight from Lund's Fisheries, Joanne Carasino, who is our CEO of the hospital, Ann and Joe Salvatore. They're pillars of the community when it comes to our cultural programs, Sandra Bloodworth, Paul Mulligan, Vicki Clark, and Ron Gelzunas. And I want to thank everybody. They put in 8 meetings, a lot of hours, and what we did, next slide please, was we did some serious brainstorming. We spent a couple of hours at the Lobster House just coming up with lots of ideas, and then we voted on the ones that we thought really needed to have more attention paid to them, and then we dedicated meetings to those. We went out into the field. We just didn't stay here at Town Hall. We went out to the beaches to see the Cape May salts being harvested. We went out to the hotels. We went out to the school. We went out to the airports. And we also invited outside consultants. We went to like Chester, Pennsylvania, and we said, you guys are doing a lot of stuff right. Please come and meet with us and give us some insights about what you're doing. Give us some advice. And we benefited from that. We did everything we could to be as open and transparent about this, and we encouraged the media to pay attention to this. And a lot of what was happening got carried, thankfully, by all of our media outlets. And of course, we coordinated with our state and county organizations. Now, here's some of the opportunities that we saw. Now, given our tourism base, which is really where we begin, what is our strength, we need to work with our regional neighbors to take pride and take care of what we have. So we talked about the low-hanging fruit, what we already have, which is a gateway into a wonderful resort area. We need to take pride in it, and we need to take care of what we've got. So we think about our gateways. For example, when people come off the ferry and they make their way into our township, we think about, maybe those fences that are out there aren't the best way to welcome people into our community. We think about the bridges that allow people to come and go from Cape May into Lower Township. You can't enter Cape May without going through Lower Township. We talked about looking to build our brand since we're a destination and more people are being invited to come here. People ask, well, where is it? And we also talked about the importance of making things that tourists want to buy and want to see. We also looked at the Cape May aquaculture. We have Rutgers growing baby oysters and baby horseshoe crabs right here in our community. And then we have people that are taking those baby oysters, putting them in racks, what they call the rack and bag method, and putting them out into the bays. The wonderful thing about those oysters is they clean the bays, right? They're cleaning the bays, and meanwhile they're making for great oysters as they clean the bay and grow in these bags that we had a chance to see. We need, and this is really important, this is something that came up early that we're going to really emphasize tonight, our harbors. Our harbors are as important to our fishing community, our recreational fishing and our commercial fishing. They're as important to them as the Garden State Parkway is to our tourists. So the harbors have to be looked at as one of the key pieces of infrastructure that we have to nurture and maintain if we're going to take care of our community. We also have to look to the waters that maintain our fish. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tonight. And then we couldn't think about economic development without thinking about the next generation. Because you take your natural assets, the technology that combines with the natural assets to make an economy comes from the ingenuity of people and young people that are coming out of school. And so it's our educational institutions that have to be supported and upheld and encouraged as we nurture and bring the next generation of young people into our economy. We're going to talk about that as well. And then focus on the developing opportunities at the Cape May County Airport. We're going to hear hopefully from a gentleman tonight who's going to be bringing hopes to bring a new business opportunity to the Cape May Airport. We've heard about the opportunity for unmanned aviation through what the county is doing. So this is another area that we see as an opportunity. Next slide, please. So one of the first things that came out, and I must say this first recommendation was unanimously adopted by the committee, and that is that we should consider researching the cost and the benefits of having a new name for Lower Township with a referendum, so that we would talk about it with the community, understanding what the costs and the benefits are, then putting it to the people for a referendum. Would it be beneficial to change the name of the township? Now, this idea came out of the committee. It was socialized. The Press of Atlantic City and others said it was a great idea, but we didn't want to take it any further without making sure we studied it very carefully. And as I said, this was unanimously suggested. And I'm going to ask Ryan Krill to come up and just say a word. Ryan and Ernie, if you want to come up too. You
together, hold hands?
Yeah, you can hold hands if you want to. Go for it.
All right. So am I presenting to council? Hello, council. Thank you for having me tonight.
Cape May Brewery, one of our poster child of economic development. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Norris. So I guess I'll address everyone here. My name's Ryan. I'm the owner and co-founder of the brewery at the airport. I support investigating changing the name of Lower Township to Cape May Township, or something that kind of blends with the brand of Cape May. When I was after college, I moved to New York City, and I learned of all these mystical places like Soho or Tribeca, and I found what they really were about. Number one, it's the south of Houston Street, or Tribeca is the triangle below Canal Street. But really what it was is people in real estate trying to add value to neighborhoods that were otherwise just industrial or not really that desirable. So they came up with these sexy names to make them more appealing. And now, many people know about them, and they're the most expensive areas in New York City. Now, by saying that we're going to change Cape May, or Lower Township to Cape May Township, is not saying that we're going to be the sexiest, the most desirable place in New Jersey, but I think it's a good step in trying to help our community and identify it with the brand of Cape May. When I first moved here, I'm actually from Westchester, PA originally, and I moved down here for our business. I was shocked to learn that all these landmarks that are in our area that are known with Cape May and associated with Cape May are not in Cape May. The Lobster House, Lucky Bones, the Cape May Lewis Ferry, Cape May Winery, they're all in Lower Township. And why are they not Lower Township Winery, Lower Township Brewery? Is because it really doesn't have the appeal that and the brand that Cape May does. So I have no idea what's involved in changing a township name. Perhaps it could be unaffordable, but it's been done in the past. I believe Tom's River, was it Dover Township, is now Tom's River Township. It's been done a number of times. So I would advocate that we pursue the idea a little bit further and see what's involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ernie, you want to add anything to that? Ernie Hutch. Everybody knows Ernie.
Distinguished Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of Township Council, pleased to be here.
How are you?
As part of our final report here, we discussed at length the name change of Lower Township. There wasn't always unanimity in concourse. We didn't always agree on everything. But as the Deputy Mayor has said, we gathered a group of people and we sat down and we brainstormed and we tried to come up with a bunch of different ideas that would be beneficial for the township here to try to make things better. We didn't do anything. We did what we were asked, and I'm here to report on that. It was important that we understand that this committee served as an incubator for all of these ideas. Historically, if we go back, when Cape May County was set up into townships, it was set up according to religious lines. And they came up with upper, middle, and lower. Some where the Methodists lived, some where the Quakers lived, and some where the Presbyterians lived. And that's the way that it went. And it really didn't matter at that particular time because there wasn't any connotation attached to those names in those early eras. They could have just as well named them start, halfway and finished, or first, second, and third, or beginning, midpoint, and end. It would have served the same purpose at that particular time in the township's history. As the years passed, all the things changed. Businesses, travel, vacationers, and tourists. Second home ownership, roads were built, rail lines were installed, airports later, and the list goes on and on and on until we reach the present day where people identify with certain things. They see things different because the world we live in is entirely different. I noted that the economic drivers today recognize this as a survival tool. Just a few examples of those being in Cape May are the Lobster House Restaurant, South Jersey Marina, Hutch's Marina, Lucky Bones, Miss Christock, Canyon Club, ad infinitum. That name is of the utmost importance to all of our business community. The list never stops because the name tells people where to go, tells them how to get there. It's an essential ingredient to the success of any enterprise. And that's why all the businesses usurp that name and they take it and they don't put Lower Township on their signs because people don't know where Lower Township is. Just look at the Cape May Lewis Ferry, the Cape May Canal and Cape May Harbor. Cape May Point came out of Lower Township. West Cape May came out of Lower Township. The only areas that we enjoy here today that have some relative destination point in our vast geographic area are the Diamond Beach and the Villas area. Even North Cape May, which at one point in time was scheduled to be its own municipality, and then it failed. But here we are today. get my place here. All the rest is just pure vanilla. And if you're not native to our area, it really doesn't have any meaning and it doesn't have any value. So the feeling of this committee was to embrace the idea, which has value, and move into the next century and adopt a name that will tell the people where we are without having to research it. It's a win-win situation for us. It's not going to cost a lot of money, but it's up to the people of the township to make that choice. That's all I have on that topic.
And just to be clear, the recommendation here is that we research it. In fact, some of the business owners suggested they'd be willing to contribute to doing the research, going up and finding, for example, what happened when Princeton Borough took the name of Princeton. What are the benefits that come from a name change like that versus what are the costs with changing the seal and all those other things that would have to be considered. And then, of course, once the information is gathered, not making the decision without the benefit of having a referendum of our community. Okay, now I'm going to ask Jeff Reichel to come up because we're going to talk a little bit about the aquaculture development. We noticed that there's a good business of harvesting oysters out in our bays, and we learned that if we want to really promote this and build it up, you could have 10 times the number of people working in this industry as we have right now. So if there's 10 now, they could go up to 100 in terms of people that are cultivating the oysters, which are becoming very popular and being sold across the country. Of course, this relates to our waters and our harbors. And when it comes to our harbors, there's two issues that we're going to hear about tonight. One is the dredging. We've got to get the sand and the silt that comes naturally, filters back into our harbors, makes it difficult for the boats to come in and dock. That's a recurring issue. What do you do with that silt? And we have less and less places for more and more of the silt that needs to be dredged out of the harbor in order for the boats to be able to dock. And then secondly, we have the issue of when is the dredging done? And because of what could be an antiquated law, what looks like a really antiquated law with regards to how the flounders are coming, and Jeff, come on up here because you're going to do a better job of explaining this than me. Jeff Reichel with Lund's Fisheries. By the way, Friends of Lower Township, Jeff, you've been 2 years willing to contribute money to help the Recreation Department. And I just want to, while you're up here, take an opportunity to thank you for that. Okay, very much. You really give back to the community. So explain to the folks what the issue is with the flounder fishing and how that is affecting the dredging, if you would, and what recommendations you have.
Well, the issue is not really about flounder fishing. The issue is about a species of flounder called winter flounder. So, you know, you guys, a lot of you people are local people. You know what fluke is. Well, fluke is not winter flounder. Winter flounder is something that's more often caught north of here, very, very seldom seen here. I've been in the fishing business for 41 years, and we've almost never seen winter flounder landed in this area. Yet, Cape May Harbor and the waters around here, not Delaware Bay, but just north of Delaware Bay, is considered winter flounder essential fish habitat. And what that means is that we've been mapped as an area where winter flounder come and lay eggs, and those eggs are laid during the winter. So, therefore, we can't dredge during the winter. Well, when you think about that, all of our, especially our recreational fisheries here, are mostly summertime businesses, you know, and spring, summer, fall businesses. So you can't dredge your marina when everyone wants to come put their boats in the slip. So this creates a huge problem for us in marinas. It also creates a problem for commercial fisheries too, because, you know, we want things dredged when it's most efficient, and it creates a problem for beach replenishment. So, you know, we're forced to do all these things during our high season, which is expensive. There's a lack of equipment to do all the things at the same time. So anyhow, it's a huge issue for us. So we're working together, the commercial guys and recreational guys, are working together. We've been coordinating some with Stone Harbor because they're very concerned about beach replenishment. It's going to be an issue in other places too. And of course, here in Lower Township, we're working on getting this area remapped, because it's not winter flounder essential fish habitat. So it's kind of a technical thing that I don't want to bore everyone with. I just want to say that, it's important that all industries in the township get support from the township, and that people realize the more successful industry is here, the more successful the township is, because we have more jobs and can create more tax base and create a better place to live. So anyhow, we're working with, hope to be working with the council. I would like to ask the council for a letter of support to National Marine Fisheries Service. I've left some information on the table here. I'll also leave some other information for staff, and we're happy to work with you guys to put together a letter to try to make this happen.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. We have some information there on that, and we'll look to put that onto the next, maybe the second meeting in January to get that taken care of. Okay. The next generation, representing the next generation and their education, is Chris Kobick. And Chris, looks like you have one of your colleagues with you.
I do, and I'll introduce him. Norris, thank you so much. I'd also like to thank Township Council. Mr. Simonson dedicates his life to education every day, but it's rare to have a full Township Council that really has centered right in on education and what we can do to support our future economy, our future culture, and the future lives of the people that live in Lower Township. Who I have with me today is Joe Castellucci. Joe is the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Lower Cape May Regional School District, and I'll be calling on him in just a minute to help me describe a few of the things that we've been doing. Before I do that, if I could ask you to please take one and pass them back. And same, thank you so much. And I'll get copies for the mayor and council also. Sorry about that. There we go. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Need copies made, or are you okay?
I got two.
You're listening to an awful lot of information tonight, and with that come a whole series of recommendations. But I have a recommendation as an educator. I have some things to share here, but probably more important than anything is the whole notion that there's a theme here tonight. And that theme is about working together as a community. If we want a successful workforce, our kids need to see us working together. They don't need to see us bickering. They don't need to see us going back and forth with one another. They need to see us working together, because the successful workforce of the future is one where a diverse group of people with different values, different understandings, different educations and backgrounds, different things that are important to them, sit down and make up their mind to work together. And that's what really got me excited about working on the EDC for Lower Township. And I really do appreciate that opportunity. You know, it kind of affirmed some of the beliefs we have at Lower Cape May Regional, that really the reason you're here, students, is because you're going somewhere. You know, actually, that's both good news and bad news, because one of the things Lower Cape May Regional does produce is a heck of a lot of very creative, inspirational, intelligent, bright students who are exported, who leave our community, and they don't come back. And if we can create opportunities here for them, we'll be able to keep them in our community. Last year, about 79% of the students at Lower Cape May Regional High School went to college. Clearly, there's a lot of great Lower Cape May Regional graduates that have made the decision to stay in the community, but because of our geographic isolation and work opportunity, there are limited opportunities for students to do that. But what's the school doing? Well, our school district has adopted career-ready practices. You know, when you get down to brass tacks, what does every employer need? Every employer needs students to be responsible, to be able to work together productively and positively, to be able to communicate clearly and effectively, to be able to demonstrate creativity and innovation, to be able to model integrity, ethical leadership, and effective management. Every employee in every store, in every business, in every tourist industry, in every oyster industry, we need those common things. So our school district has adopted these principles. And one of these is in every classroom, and our staff supports them. As a matter of fact, in the beginning of the school year, I said to the staff, you know, what are we doing to invoke the notion of the reason you're here, students, is because you're going somewhere? And how are we helping students be ready for careers? Going to college is one thing, but being successful in careers are another. So listed on the back of these career-ready standards are some of the things that we've had standing in place for some time, but we've continued to develop, and also some new things. I already talked about the career-ready practices, but our program designs continue to change. Lower Cape May Regional School District has quite a number of college credit and advanced placement programs. As a matter of fact, it might surprise you to know that more than 800 credits, 800 college credits were earned by Lower Cape May Regional School District students last year. Now, for quite some time, and in my meetings with the EDC, I talked about this idea of career and technical education programs. But Joe's going to talk to us a little bit about the way they're designed and why they're important for economic development in Lower Township. Mr. Castellucci?
Thank you, Mr. Kovic. Just real 1-minute history lesson. The high school as we know it was probably invented a little over 100 years ago. And it was invented for two reasons. One, at that time, the United States was seeing an influx of immigrants from all over the world that we never saw before that time. So high schools were created in a way to assimilate those folks into our way of life. The other reason that high schools were created was to prepare students economically. There was a big economic focus, get them ready to work in what was then the most employable part of our sector of our economy, and that was factory work. It's no mistake, if you go out and look at high schools around the country, they tend to look like factories, especially factories of the early 20th century. Unfortunately, while our economy has changed drastically, sometimes our schools have been a little bit too slow to change. What we're trying to do at our school and high schools throughout the country are trying to do is catch up a little bit, try to be responsive to the changing economic times, to try to make sure our students are ready for whatever it is that they want to do when they get out of high school. So Lower Cape May Regional, we've embraced this concept, and part of our program is the Career Technical Education Program. That is to prepare students for not only the possibility of further academic education, whether it be college or technical school, but also for careers. And the way we do that is we investigate annually, constantly, what are the emerging careers, not only throughout the country, but particularly in New Jersey and our local community. What do our communities need? What are going to be the lucrative careers for our kids? What will they be able to get jobs at? What will be well-paying careers for them? And then we begin to put programs together that would train students in those careers. So Mr. Kovic on the back half of this outlines some of those, but it's an incomplete list because things change. We develop programs, programs evolve, kids come and go, their interests change. But some of the programs that we have that we're really excited about are our culinary arts program. Obviously, that's a big program in our community. There's a big demand for that. We have a brand new industrial kitchen in our school that looks very much like a restaurant kitchen, and we do prepare our kids with industry standard certificates to work in a kitchen. We have business management, which prepares students for the world of retail and entrepreneurship. We have engineering, which in New Jersey is the fastest growing industry, one of the largest demanding industries for employees. They cannot get enough technically skilled workers to staff all the jobs they have. So we have a very strong engineering program. We have law enforcement. Our students have the ability, while they're in high school, to attend the police academy in Cape May County and graduate high school with a Class 1 law enforcement certificate. We have programs in TV and media production. We just did our first live broadcast to the community. There will be another one to the community on Monday night. We're preparing our students for the world of media production. We also have fashion design, marine science, horticulture, and greenhouse science, a very fine performing arts program. In all of these programs, and some we did not mention, students have the ability to, A, earn industry standard certificates through tests that they have to take to prove that they've attained the skills necessary to be successful in those careers. We also allow students to take, as Mr. Kobick said, articulation or dual credit programs. So we have agreements with Stockton College, we have agreements with Rutgers University, we have agreements with Rowan College, we have agreements with Rochester Institute of Technology, Atlantic Community College, where students in these programs can earn college credits while they're in high school at a much reduced rate. So we're very proud of the programs we have. These continue to develop, they continue to emerge. We have new ideas for continuing programs. But most important is what Mr. Kobick talked about, the career-ready practices, because these programs do not operate in isolation of math, science, English, social studies. They're all part of the whole picture. That a student sitting in algebra class hopefully no longer says, why am I doing algebra? What's this have to do with anything? That they could go to their career-ready classes and see right there while they're in high school that this is relevant. This stuff that they're learning in math and science and English and social studies is relevant to their future career. And all of our teachers in every discipline know these career-ready practices, and they try to infuse them in their lesson planning in every course, every single day. And hopefully these will instill in the students the skills necessary not only to get a job, but also to keep that job and be a very good employer for you and everybody else that they end up working with. Thank you.
You can see why I asked him to speak. Thank you, Mr. Castellucci. We're almost done, and probably one of the things we haven't had a lot of at Lower Cape May Regional School District is that word partnerships. You know, just a couple of years ago, Cape Resorts Group approached us because they were interested in working with our business management class and our entrepreneurship classes. And that program now is a full 2 years old, where Cape Resorts Group staff come over and work with students every couple of weeks. Our students go over to Cape Resorts and shadow different employees at different levels in the organization, and it's a true business partnership. Students even create new businesses and wind up in a Shark Tank kind of thing at the end of the year, where they're judged by other real industry people on how good their presentations are. Another important partnership we have is with the Lower Cape May Regional Education Foundation. The first project of that foundation, it's a nonprofit foundation dedicated to preparing students to be successful in careers. That's the purpose of the foundation. And one of its first projects has been a Change a Life Over Lunch program. Well, you heard about that maybe before, but it's actually happening now. The week before Thanksgiving, we had 19 students mentored. We had another session with 7 or 8, and we've got some singles coming in. There's more than 30 people from the business and work and retired community that are now coming into Lower Cape May Regional High School. The foundation is buying them lunch, and we're matching them with students who have an interest in the career they were in or are presently in. So there's conversations happening about the notion of, yes, that's right, students talking at lunchtime about what they're going to do in their future and talking to somebody who's a resource in the community. That's a real partnership. Another important partnership, we're working with Cape May Forum. Cape May Forum traditionally has been something that's been an isolated educational event for folks in the area of the adult world. Now we're designing a program that'll be later this spring on the very things that you've heard about tonight: aquaculture, the local industries, the growing local industries, and we'll have a series of assembly programs and seminars for students at Lower Cape May Regional High School on those things. Another unique partnership we have is with Cape May Maritime Museum. We also have them with Historic Cold Spring Village. We're developing partnerships for in-servicing staff, for working in partnered programs with students, in just about every way. And that has come out of the EDC. The motivation and the inspiration for that has come out of discussions related to the EDC. Finally, we had a structured learning experience, but now we've tripled the number of staff that are dedicated toward students getting high school credit, working out in the community in an internship or in a shadow position, learning about what their future field is going to be. So we've got community-based instruction, structured learning experiences happening, and then you've also got individual projects that happen. I don't know how many people from the business community came in, must have been 30 or 40 at least, and we had a senior interview day. And students came in dressed in jackets and ties, and they presented their resumes, and volunteers from the community came in and sat in our media center and interviewed these students in fake interviews, trying to invoke that notion that the reason you're here is because you're going somewhere. Finally, there are all outside, external initiatives. An hour of code we had just last week, where staff from throughout the district with students introduced the notion of computer programming to students, which was a very successful initiative. I heard the notion about winter flounder before, and I really wondered why they disappeared or just seemed to disappear when you get south of Avalon, and that was an education for me. But it's interesting, another project Lower Cape May Regional is involved in is with a grant with the state of New Jersey, and we'll have seniors working with the Wetlands Institute and the state of New Jersey on taking silt spoils and building areas to grow more oysters in a pilot project. One of our township residents, David Golden, who works with the state of New Jersey, helped us get that grant. So we're very interested in developing programs that are tailor-made to the needs of the community, but also making sure that students get the fundamental skills that they need regardless of what career they go into, so that when you meet a student from Lower Cape May Regional, you'll know they're from Lower Cape May Regional because they're ready. I appreciate, once again, all the time and attention you've given me tonight and your continued support with a positive attitude and a positive hooray for people who are willing to stand up and try to do something to improve in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. What you have shown us tonight is that this Economic Development Committee really tapped into, first of all, a deep love of this region. We love this neighborhood, we love this area, and we also know that it can be better than what it is, and we want to take care of it. And I think one of the high points of these last 2 years is what you mentioned earlier, was business leaders who also feel strongly coming into our schools, helping to light a fire about the opportunity of starting a business, and then encouraging them to develop a business plan. We actually got a call from one of those young people who heard that we wanted to start businesses at the airport, and they were doing research for starting a linen service at the airport as a result of what you started over there. So thank you very much for all that you've done and the leadership, and I know that you're going to continue it on. Speaking of the airport, we did pass a tax abatement for any new improvements that were done at the airport. We said if you're going to invest money into a business to improve one of the facilities there and put a lot of capital into it and thereby improve the value of that building through your investment, we're not going to tax you for 5 years. Okay, so we're going to phase in the taxes over 5 years to encourage capital formation and development over at the airport. This was something that the council passed at the recommendation of our Economic Development Council. As a result of this, people are starting to sit up and take notice. We got a call from a gentleman who operated a company that makes nutrients out of algae. There's a lot of nutrients that people are recognizing have great benefits to our health. And one of them is made by growing algae and then farming the algae and getting the nutrients from the algae and making these supplements. He was working over in Woodbine. He heard what we were doing here. He came to the airport. He said, this is a place that I would rather do business. I would rather be in Lower Township. I would rather be here because I'm close to here. There's lots of other benefits to being here, and I would like to work here. And so we met with the folks at the airport, got an idea of where he could locate his business, and he has figured, he was going to be here tonight, Paul Mulligan with Cape Micro, but he figured that over the course of the next 5 years, this business, if it could get hold, would develop into a place where it would be able to employ 40 employees from scratch. So we're going to be, I hope to give him an opportunity down the road to give a presentation, but he's going to need help from the state level. And that brings me to the final point, which is one of the things that happened is that the word got out. There was a lot of passion and a lot of love for this community. And the first thing that we said when we met was that we can't do this by ourselves. We're all in the same boat, to use the harbor metaphor. And so we all have to work together if we're going to improve our economy. We are not an island. We have to cooperate with Cape May Point, and all of our brothers and sisters up the county if we're going to pull the boat into the right direction. As a result of the passion that we saw out of this group, Senator Van Drew was one of the people that stood up and took notice, and I think he was encouraged to start his economic task force for the entire district, District 1, which includes Cumberland County, Cape May County, and portions of Atlantic County. And he was encouraged and inspired to do this, I think, by watching some of the activity that we did. He recognized the problems that we have, and he encouraged a number of us that were part of this committee to carry on the work of economic development in the region through this task force. And so the work that's been done and the ideas and the spirit is going to carry on into the next couple of years through Senator Van Drew's Legislative District Economic Development Task Force. And he would have liked to have been here tonight to tell you about it and his passion and excitement about it, but they're voting up tonight in Trenton, so he couldn't make it. And so that concludes the reports. We've got some recommendations for council to act on. We'll carry them forward into the next year. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, these folks, all of them, Ernie and Ryan and Chris and David Craig and Curtis, these are busy people. But they came to these meetings, they invested a lot of time in their best ideas, and they want to keep pushing these things forward. All of you that participated, thank you so much for your love, and with your talent, with all of our ideas and our determination, we're going to do it. Thanks.
Council? Nice job. Tom, do you have any comments? First, before you guys leave, thank you very much. Echoing what Nora said, we appreciate the time, the effort. There's a lot of talent outside of government that's in the people that live in this township, and I think this is probably some of the most talented people that reside here, and it was an excellent report. And there's things that we need to discuss, I think, and maybe mull over and decide which way we want to go with it. A name change is a big ticket item. I don't think anybody's sitting back and saying that's something that's going to get done overnight. And I'm not sure that anybody's going to sit here and take a position on it. I look at it from the perspective that, at least my own opinion, if it's what the people want, if they sit back and they vet this thing, they go through it and really put some effort into it and show the pros and cons, and then there's a decision to move forward for a referendum, well, that's fine, if that's what the people of this township want to do. I see the point. I also see the point of some of the people who say, tradition, and we've had this name for whatever. So that's not something that I'm prepared to push one way or the other, except to say, yeah, I personally feel we should allow this committee to look at it and then present some kind of a report as to what the options are. So I don't know how the rest of council feels. That's just.
That one's going to be one that everyone's going to talk about, think about. The dredging issue for Mr. Reichel, if we could get that on sooner, is there a deadline for you to get that up to the state, or It's second meeting in January is fine with you.
That would be fine. This process is going to take some time.
Yeah, whatever you need for, we have to take care of that harbor and take care of our fishing industry. There's no two ways about it.
Okay. And I guess there's more than a few items on there. Eric, do you have any comments on any of them? I like what the school's doing too, by the way. They already left, but they got a good program going over there. Go ahead. You okay? So, I don't, they're the winter flounder and the dredging, we'll move expeditiously on that, but as far as the name change, as far as I'm concerned, if this committee wants to move forward and look at it and then present something before council, I'm fine with that. But we're not spending anything on it, the township. We're not going to be the ones who are going to sit back and make a decision whether this would be done or not. It would be simply an investigation, correct? Does anybody on council have a problem with that before we go anywhere? Do you have a problem with
If
them
someone
simply
wants to
looking at this?
Take a look at it. I have no issue with that.
Okay, Eric, are you okay with them looking at it?
Like you said,
Okay.
it doesn't cost any money. I'm all
It
for
doesn't cost us, the township, any money, and if they come back and you would almost love to see a telephone pole in a certain way to see how put some information out and then see how it resonates inside the town. I get that, especially from a business perspective. But there's the other side, like I said, the traditionalists that may have some major heartburn with that. Okay? Everybody else fine with that as far as any other comments? Now, we'll move down then to the consent agenda. Is there any council comments, questions on the consent agenda? Thanks, gentlemen. Ryan. Ernie, thank you. Jeff, thank you. Anybody else? Well, I think the rest of them left by now. Okay, comments, questions? We all right? Move to public comment on the consent agenda? Thank you. Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, December 1, 2014. Resolution number 2014-326 through 2014-334.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve and a second?
A motion. Approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2014-335. This is authorizing the payment of a voucher to Engineering Design Associates for $729. This was for site work done for the DPS Department, Public Safety Building.
Okay.
Site work.
Council comments? Public comments? Okay. And do I close public portion? Do I motion to approve? I'll move.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
This is the last payment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to change my position on this. The guy has done everything he's been asked for and worked with us. Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
No.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Any council comments on administrative reports? Go to council comments, Tom.
All right, a few things have happened since the last meeting, the school election. Thank you, Lower Township. I would like to especially give out a little-known name. Melissa O'Donnell got on Facebook and made an event and had that going out throughout Facebook, reminding people over and over to get out to vote. I think she did a wonderful job. If she came walking in here today, I wouldn't recognize her. All I knew was the name, and I just pushed her what she said on Facebook to try to get as many people out there as possible. Hospitality Day. Chamber did a wonderful job again. Still not 100% sure on the daytime, but that helps the businesses, I think. We did miss an opportunity with that. The township is a member of the chamber, I believe, and could get a table at this, and we could be at the hospitality night, yes, giving out the tickets, but providing info. We had all kinds of people at this event coming through, and what if we were giving flyers to everyone to remind them to vote the next Tuesday? An important issue that the Taxpayers Association would have been given out. we would have hit possibly a whole different demographic of people that don't necessarily aren't listening to the phone, not paying attention to the news, they're just going to work or whatever. It was a chance for us at the table there to get what the town's happening at the township. Let them know what's happening with the leaf pickup. Let them see some of the people, the recreation programs. I've been getting hit. When's the basketball schedule coming out? I don't know. After January. That's all I know. But Hospitality Day Chamber, again, wonderful job. School, the flood maps. Friday, the mayor, myself, and the construction official went to Cape May. Mayor Mahaney did a wonderful job hosting an event for FEMA. There's a lot of information there. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's too much the township could actually fight hard, but we could, if we work with our residents and work as a team, we might be able to help them. When people got to our table, they already had all the information. FEMA was wonderful. They gave everyone, here's where your address is. They gave them a picture of where their house was, if they were in a flood zone or not. You went to the next table, they said what you have to mitigate or not. They told you, they even had people there giving quotes for for flood insurance to give you an idea of what's happening. They had someone there with the smart fence. There's a lot of information there. And the main thing we had people coming over was, how close am I to the flood zone when they got done? Their questions were answered, some people to their satisfaction, some not. The flood maps do not make sense to me today because, as most of us have been here for a while, there's area in the flood zones that have never flooded. Norris, I'm sorry. If your house floods, I'm in big trouble. But he's right there next to some place that, why? And it seems like where FEMA 2 and FEMA 3 got together is where the main problem is. We'll do our best, but I think us and the residents and our expert are going to be working together, if I'm correct, Mr. Mayor?
Well, the problem with the V-zone is the definition that lies within the Bigger Waters Act about the toe of the dune. And it really comes down to the fact that regardless of the height there, the side, the land side of the first dune is where the V-zone begins, and it's, unless we can prove there's bulkheads along there, and that's something that the individual owner's going to have to do. We can help. We've been through this, and we have Stu Farrell working on this. One of the potential mediations that could come about is the grant that we supported, the resiliency grant, which down the line could perhaps bring some kind of they'll design flood control as well as the ecosystem preservation. But you could see in years to come, if the funding comes from a different stream, it's got to come from the federal government, because that would be a huge ticket item to put something along the bay, a berm out there that might, and you know, this is where you've got the red knot, which has just been declared saintly. You know, you have all sorts of different things going on now that, you know, it's going to be a little bit difficult to disturb that in some ways. But, you know, this is why we have the engineers looking at this, and why hopefully maybe the Department of the Interior, federal government might step in and help us with that. But you're correct in a lot of that. Go ahead.
Okay, and as is the last meeting of the year, Merry Christmas to all. May God bless you in the new year, and see you in January.
Oh, yeah. Just got to skip over there for a minute. I just want to send a thank you out. Some of you may remember Michael DeLeon that came about a year ago and spoke here. He has a Steered Straight program. It is anti-drug and alcohol awareness. He came down this past Tuesday himself and a young man, a recovered addict, Colin O'Brien. He spoke at our high school for our 7th and 8th grade students, as well as our Back on Track. It's a new drug counseling program that's gone into effect this year that we've been working on. You know, he delivered, as he did here, it was a little longer and more in depth, but a powerful and educational program for our students. And the main thing is he has promised to come back and follow up. I mean, a lot of times you get these one-shot deals, and you know, it may be a shock factor or something like that, but the kids really don't get too much out of it. He was very personable, with the children, and like I said, he offered to come back and do follow-up visits to help out in any way he can, so we appreciate that. Along with celebrating concerts and festivities and hospitality nights and school plays and everything else, just want to wish everybody a safe and healthy Merry Christmas for everybody, and or Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate. So that's it for me.
So we've talked about the importance of creating new jobs for our region, but there's 2 jobs I'd like to see retired from this county. One of those jobs would be the attorney in Cape May that's promoting the idea of dissolving our school district. And the second one would be the attorney that we've had to hire here in Lower Township to follow suit. And so I'm looking forward, and I'm praying that Cape May City Council will see it in their best interest to just pull back on this whole thing and retire the attorney that they have so we can retire ours and save the taxpayer money. That's a prayer that we've got in 2015. I do want to thank the Taxpayers Association and those folks that have raised the money and made sure that everybody got the word out about voting no. I've seen your signs even across into Cape May City and letting everybody know what time it was to vote. And I too want to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you.
I didn't lose my papers here, Jewel. I have this. We have the Ferry Merry Christmas, Sunday, December 21st at the Ferry Terminal, noon to 3 o'clock. That's the 21st, and that's really a good event. At the Ferry Terminal, noon to 3 o'clock. And the New Year's Eve event, which is also an excellent alternative to a lot of the stuff that goes on that evening. Wednesday, December 31st, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Rec Center. Okay, it's 6 to 9 on New Year's Eve. Okay, let me see some of the things that we had. I want to thank the Rotary for the tree lighting. That's always your Norman Rockwell evening out there with the choir and all the people that come, and they honored the veterans, and that was fantastic. I want to thank them also for the parade the other night, which was another great event that we have. We were we discussed the FEMA. I think that has to play itself out a little bit, and there's more things that it's fighting a pretty good size agency with FEMA and trying to do something along the bayfront there. And we still are working with Stu Farrell to try and do some individual tweaks to their plan. How that plays itself out depends on the residents in some way, because some of it has to do with certifying perhaps long since, beyond their usefulness, the bulkheads there. So that's something that we're going to have to look at. But I think that grant that we got is at least a light towards the future as far as that. We had the Wreaths Across America, which is a growing event which honors veterans living and deceased. And we were at the Cold Springs Cemetery. Rob Reel is the sponsor of this, and they lay wreaths at all the graves sites in the Cold Springs. And you know you're in history when you're standing next to a soldier from the Revolutionary War that was killed in the war that's sitting there. I mean, they have guys from every war over there in that cemetery. So that was an amazing sight, just going through there and looking at that. Hospitality night, I agree, that's a great night. One of the problems with the, and this bleeds into the fight for the referendum, and some, and I get this, some clubs, some associations had to be a little careful because they have members that are in Cape May City that belong to these different places. I had gone to the chamber in the beginning, and a lot of their people helped but the organization itself could not take a stand any more than the school could take a stand. And we were not even allowed to take to spend money. And the people, I agree that a lot of the internet is something that really helps out a lot, Facebook and all that. But it down here at the ground, raising the money for this fight was the Taxpayer Association, Janet Pitts at Butler, and Kathy Louderback was very instrumental also in helping us generate the amount of money that we did, the maximum we could. The township couldn't spend it. It enabled us to get the signs. It enabled us to do the robocall the night before and to put flyers out. And I guess we're getting good at referendums. I mean, they keep throwing them at us, and this time was beyond expectation. If you look at Lower Township, it was basically 80 to 1 no. And you would sit back and say, if you put 80 people in the room and said, well, I want everybody to go in here and vote no, somebody would just by accident vote yes. I mean, that's an incredible number. It was like 4,600, you have it there, to I think 50.
4,721
Yeah, okay.
to 60.
To 60. There were some districts in the villas that had like 140 to 0. So people really responded, and there was a lot of the get out the vote that day. A lot of people were out trying to make sure, and they contacted their friends and neighbors, and I think that's a lot of what the draw came about. But it was a group effort, and so where do we sit at this point? I'm just basically asking politely that Cape May, stop. It hasn't changed our message. It's not only would it be something that would be an incredible tax increase, which would do irreparable harm to our residents, but it would also it would hurt the education system, the quality education system. You heard some of the things going over at the school, some of the things that we're very proud that are taking place over there. They do a fantastic job, and they need support, not somebody trying to take $5 million in funding out of their revenue stream. So hopefully there's a decision made shortly, and again, it's not the residents of Cape May City that we are having issue with. It's the elected officials, and hopefully they see the light and they just decide that this is the end of where we're at. They've gone to declare victory, that you did the best you could, and just let it go from there on out. Okay, so that's about all that I have. Is there anything else that you guys can think of? Okay, we'll open up for public comment. If you have a public comment, come forward. Yes, ma'am.
Janet Pitts Villas. I too want to thank everybody that worked on the campaign to get the vote out for the Lower Cape May regional ballot question. And I was unable to attend Cape May's November 21st informational meeting, but I did make it a point to look at it online. And if I could have one wish for the new year, I would ask the residents of Cape May to really check into the possibility of them winning this, because the likelihood is virtually nil. And I think they need more than a warm, fuzzy, well, we feel good about this, we're optimistic about it. They should look at Pascack Regional High School. That failed. They should look at Central Regional High School. That failed. Manchester Regional High School, and the list is endless. Look at Seaside Park's determination. The court has ruled this is a legislative remedy. So we can go back and forth and we can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers as they've done in several other regional school districts, and we're not going to be any further along than we are now, but our pocketbook's going to be a lot lighter. And there's going to be an animosity buildup with our neighbor that we're trying to work so hard to develop this economic development to benefit everybody. So I just ask the residents in Cape May, do not accept this feel-good, oh, I think we stand a good chance. I mean, that's what a used car salesman tells you, or the lottery tells you. You have to play to win. They're just throwing money away. The state has ruled it has to be a legislative remedy. That is it. If they want it to change, they need to get the legislature, not through the courts. They say no. So that's my wish for the new year. Thank you.
It's a good one. This gentleman back here, please. Yes, sir.
Dan Anderson, Town Bank Road. I want to say again what I said last year. As of December 1st, beach tags in Cape May are free to all veterans. So go down there, take your discharge papers, you get a free beach tag. You don't get many things for free. So, and military personnel, it's free for them and their families.
Thank you. Pass that on. Does anybody else wish to address council? This young lad here.
Luke Geegan, North Cape May. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would just like to very briefly thank someone who's before me tonight that more than likely, unfortunately, won't be before me in the coming months. Thank you, Manager Vole, for your dedication and service to our township, to every household and business in our township. My family and people I've spoken with couldn't agree any more that you've been an asset to Lower Township, and that's the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you very much. It's been my honor and my pleasure.
Good job, Luke, and I didn't coach you either. You did a good job. Anybody else wish to address council? All right, we'll close the public portion.
Resolution number 2014-336, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is for the discussion of professional service contracts.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.